Hey guys, Pat Divilly here again with the exam elevation program with the Elevate Foundation in County Clare. It's week 4, we're coming closer toward the exams, and this week we're going to look at energy management and active recovery. So we've all got different types of energy, and to perform at our best we've got to have all of our energy firing on all cylinders. So we've got physical energy, which is the quantity of energy we have. That comes down to things like nutrition and sleep, as well as physical activity. We've got mental energy, which is our ability to focus and not be distracted by things outside of ourselves, so being able to focus on the task at hand. And then we've got emotional energy. And emotional energy is our ability to manage stress or overwhelm or feelings of anxiety. So we're going to look at those different tools, and we're going to talk about the role of active recovery. If you think about an athlete, whether it be a rugby player, a hockey player, or anyone playing any sport, when they perform at a very high level and they're training physically and having a massive output of energy, something that's really important to them and equally as important as the work is their rest and their recovery. So you've got a player that'll play on the weekend and they've got a match where they perform at a high level, massive expenditure of energy. They'll spend a lot of the following week in recovery, be it sports massage or looking after their nutrition or going for walks and yoga. A lot of what they do is about bringing their energy back to where it was. Now we think about us, for a lot of us, we're having a massive expenditure of energy, be it physical or it be mental or emotional. We've got a lot going on, but sometimes we don't prioritize that period of rest. So the first thing we're looking at is a work-rest ratio. Are you taking time to step away from the desk, step away from the study, step away from the work to allow yourself to rejuvenate? Now that could be time in nature, that could be time with friends, that could be a lot of the things that we've talked about over the last couple of weeks. I love this idea of sleep on your problems. That's an expression you've probably heard in the past. And when I look at that from an energy standpoint, what I hear there is that a lot of us will sit at the desk and maybe we're stuck on a problem that we're trying to solve. We can't retain the information. We can't get through the sample question. We're just stuck and we're getting frustrated. And the more frustrated we get, the more our stress levels rise and we can't work through the problem. The best thing in that time that we can do is step outside and get a break. Step away from the problem, and oftentimes you'll find the solution just comes to you. Oftentimes the magic is in the gaps. And so again, this comes back to our rest and work ratio. In the coming weeks, it's something I want you to prioritize. It's something that we really need to be thinking about. So a couple of strategies tying over the things we've talked about in recent weeks. The first thing when it comes to physical energy, which is massively important, is that we're looking at sleep. Again, sleep can be affected when we're experiencing higher levels of stress. So think about the things we talked about when we spoke about sleep in recent weeks. Think about that digital detox, turning off the phone at a certain time. Think about getting your thoughts on paper before you go to bed so you're not tossing and turning thinking about them. Think about the breathing techniques that help you to wind down. Second thing we're looking at is the idea of micro goals, and this is about mental energy. Rather than sitting down at the desk and trying to, retain all the information in the book, trying to retain all the information in the chapter, think about 2 or 3 things that you want to achieve every time you sit down to study. Third thing to think about is our breathing techniques. So we looked at things like box breathing in recent weeks, and this is an easy way to reset the body and to bring ourselves back into a relaxed state. And something I tell people oftentimes is if you look at amazing athletes, and the reason I reference athletes is that they're under a lot of stress, but they perform at a very high level. And kind of like an exam, an athlete's got a certain time where they have to perform. And it's the same for us when we step into an exam. That's a certain time where we have to perform. Most people that work a 40-hour work week, they've got 40 hours to achieve a certain amount, and they can have a couple of bad hours where things don't go to plan, but they hope that within the 40 hours they get a certain amount of work done. Now an athlete's got their 2 hours on the weekend where they play, and they want to bring their best selves to that. So what an athlete will do where they struggle or they make a mistake is they'll take a couple of deep breaths. And again, that's sending a signal to the body and the mind that everything is okay and getting them out of the reactive part of the brain. So don't forget your breathing techniques. Last thing that's worth thinking about is the Pomodoro technique. This is something I really like as a study strategy, as a productivity strategy. And the Pomodoro technique is simply setting a 25-minute timer and sitting down to work on one task. So you'll pick something specific, you'll have your micro goal, and for 25 minutes you'll work on that task, and then you take a 5-minute break. Your 5-minute break might be to go for a 5-minute walk, but you do your 25 minutes on, your 5-minute off. Again, that's the idea of stepping away from the problem, and that's one Pomodoro. Now after your 5-minute break, you'll come back and you've got a new micro goal, 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off, and you repeat the sequence. So a couple of ideas here around active recovery. We can't be switched on all the time. We're not robots. Physically, we need a break. Mentally, we need a break. Emotionally, we need a break. And I hope these strategies will help you in the upcoming weeks.